Good morning, Spot Basement from FX Empire, and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Ripple's XRP, looking at the MACDs, the moving averages, and the day support, resistance, and pivot levels. It is Sunday, the 20th of December. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar, looking at the hourly candlesticks. Bearish start to the morning here after yesterday's breakout. Going to need to see Bitcoin move back through the pivot at 23,566 to take a run at the first major resistance level at 24,365. Going to need to see support from the market for Bitcoin to break out from yesterday's high that was sitting at 24,123. So barring an extended crypto rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 24,500 to limit any upside. In the event of a breakout, we've got the second major resistance level that's sitting at 24,921 and resistance at 25,000 to limit any upside on the day. Ready to move back through the pivot, we'll bring the first major support level sitting at 23,010 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should avoid sub 22,500 levels. Second major support level sits at 22,211. Looking at the MACD, we've got a bearish cross at the start of the day here supporting this early morning pullback. On the EMAs, we're also seeing the 50 flatten on the 100 and the 200. So I need to keep an eye on that through the morning. So keep through the early part of the day, move back through the pivot and yesterday's high 24,123 to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels are in play. Moving across to Ethereum against the US dollar, particularly bearish start to the day here. We've seen Ethereum fall through the first major support level sitting at 646.31. So you're going to need to see Ethereum move back through that support level and the pivot level at 659.19 to bring the first major resistance level at 671.83 into play. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ethereum to break back through to 670 levels, however. So barring an extended crypto rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, got the second major resistance level that's sitting at 684.71 to limit any upside on the day. Failure to move back through that first major support level will bring the second major support level sitting at 633.67 into play. Barring an extended sell-off through the day, Ethereum should avoid sub 630s, however. Looking at the MACD, we've got that bearish cross supporting this early morning pullback. We're also seeing the 50 narrow on the 100 and the 200 supporting a bearish morning ahead. So keep through the early part of the day. We've just seen Ethereum move back through the support level. So need to see Ethereum move through the pivot at 659.19 and back through to 670 levels. Failure to do that and expect support levels to remain in play on the day. Moving across to Litecoin against the US dollar, tracking the broader market, bearish start. Going to need to see Litecoin avoid a fallback through the pivot at 116.64 to take a run at the first major resistance level, saying at 127.78. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break out from yesterday's high 124.40. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance and resistance at 130 to cap any upside on the day. In the event of a breakout, another one, we could see Litecoin test resistance at 140 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 135.84. A fallback through the pivot will bring the first major support level at 108.88 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Litecoin should avoid sub 100s, however. 23.6% fib at 101 should limit any downside on the day. Looking at the MACD, we've got a marked narrowing of the bullish histograms supporting the early pullback. On the EMAs, however, we are seeing 50 hold its ground against the 100 and the 200, so suggestive of a possible recovery of the early losses. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the pivot, break out from yesterday's high 124.40 to bring resistance levels into play. Finally, looking at Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, also bearish this morning. Going to need to see Ripple's XRP move through the pivot at 0.5809 to bring the first major resistance level at 0.5954 into play. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break back through to 0.59 levels, however. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 0.6 to pin Ripple's XRP back. In the event of a breakout, we've got the second major resistance level at 0.6129 and the 23.6% fib at 0.6274 to limit any upside on the day. Failure to move through the pivot we bring the first major support level at 0.5634 into play. Barring an extended sell-off through the day, Ripple's XRP should avoid the second major support level that sits at 0.5488. Looking at the MACD, we had a late bearish cross yesterday and a widening of the bearish histogram this morning, supporting this early pullback. On the EMA, we're also seeing the 50 narrow marginally on the 100 and the 200, suggestive of further downside through the morning. So failure to move through that pivot level and back through to 0.59 levels will bring support levels into play.